Losing your job can really suck, unless you take advantage of it. This episode of Horrible Writing, that will never work. You can't fuck with that. Seriously? Don't. Oh my God, that's everything. That's bad. You probably should find other hobbies. You ever learn how to spell? Stop. Be happy. While you're you don't bother me. I've seen better. Do you really want to do that? And my third grade, give it up. Welcome to Horrible Writing, the rawest, most candid, in-your-face writing show on the interwebs because none of us have time to suck. Let's do this. Hey everybody, Paul Sading, your host of Horrible Writing. Welcome to episode 105. Talking about something I don't want to have to talk about. But hey, life is life. Life is going to happen, and you just have to deal with it. You can't change it. You can only exist in the moment and figure out what you're going to do for the next. So recently, I celebrated the release of my fourth novel, Rip. It's a thriller suspense, a lot of fun, based on the second season of my audio drama podcast, Subject Found. I should be celebrating. The Scales is coming up. It's almost going to be on pre-order pretty soon, so I will definitely hit my 2 books for this year, for 2019, while I'm also ramping up my efforts for that contemporary fantasy that I've been talking about little here and there, but that I've spent my summer working on. And then life happens. Stuff happens at the job, which changes my reality. We no longer, at least for the foreseeable future, are necessary. So it's not like straight up unemployment in terms of prospects, but it's straight up unemployment in terms of money. And last time I checked, the bank did not allow me to pay my mortgage with these awesome stories that I'm writing. So I had a couple things I had to face, right? I've always wanted to be a full-time writer, but on my terms. This is not on my terms. Not yet. It's way too early. And I have to invest time in figuring out where I'm going to go from here, how I'm going to get there. Preparing, right? All the resume stuff, reading up on how to do them anymore. I've had the same job for 9 years. It's been a while. I'm a little dated. And we had rumors that this was going to happen about a week out. So it gave me about a week to think about it. So it's not like what I've seen some other people go through where this happened recently. And I really felt horrible. I always feel horrible for whoever it happens to, but this was local and it was a place that I patronized often because it was where I went and celebrated my Fridays with getting some writing done in the afternoon, to celebrating getting through another week. I've talked about that on the show in the past. That place closed its doors overnight, and everybody who worked there was unemployed all of a sudden. They didn't know. So at least I didn't face something like that. I had a little prep time. But it still sucks, and it's still hard, and any of you who have gone through it, you know what this feels like. But the reason I wanted to do an episode on it was to focus on this aspect of it. It's about mindset. I've been talking about mindset for about a half year now, and I really hope I'm drilling this in for into a lot of you. Whether you need it or not, maybe I'm just reinforcing something, and I hope that's what it is, as long as it results in positive behaviors and outcomes. But it really is all about your mindset. I could have gone into a depression. I could have suffered the "oh, woe is me, you ill fates you" vegging on the couch, binging Netflix, and playing video games because I'm way behind on my Witcher progress. But I didn't, because this is an opportunity. I'm still unemployed, and I'm still looking, but it's still an opportunity. Gone are the distractions of work. There are still things I have to do because I have to figure out how to make a mortgage. But there's more free time than I've ever had. So, and I made my mind up once the word was official that this was going to happen on the day before it happened. I made my mind up. I'm going to treat writing as if it's a full-time job as much as I can, right? There are things I have to do to get back into the workforce. Those aside, it's all writing all the time because I have that mindset. So how do you survive it? How do you write through something that can be depressing, dark, and totally throw you off? Some of you who have listened for a long time know this is coming. It's not going to be a shocker. If this is your first episode, welcome. I shoot straight. Candor through empowerment through candor. Mess up my own tagline. I'm a little off my game, right? I've got a lot on my mind. But the way you write through unemployment is by complying with, adhering to the structure that you had set up before. Now, if you don't have structure right now in your writing routine, go get you some. You have to have structure. I talked about that back in episode 101 when I was talking about just writing the book. There's no such thing as writer's block. Set some things up. You can get through that structure, through those consistent behaviors. That theory holds true in this too. Set up your structure before you need to, and then adhere to it, even in these big life changes. For me, how did that manifest itself? I still got up at 4:42 in the morning. First day of unemployment through to this day, a week and a half later. Still getting up at 4:42 in the morning and starting my writing day. I get my coffee. I update my sales trackers for my books while my body is waking up, while my brain is waking up. And then I write. And I write a lot more. I finished that second book in that contemporary fantasy series. I'm outlining the third book, already starting to write it, or writing as of, by the time you hear this, I will be writing it. And catching up on all those other things I didn't have a chance to do before, because this is now my business. I'm not making a living from it, but I'm trying to figure out, can I do this? Not that I plan to, but could I? Next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, could I do this full time? Do I even want to? Right? I have that opportunity with this. I have that opportunity to sit down and figure out, hey, as sexy as this full-time writing thing sounds, could you really actually do it? You know, being a critical thinker, checking my biases, making sure I'm being honest with myself, and getting the work done. I don't sit around and play video games. I don't watch TV during the day. I don't go screw around. I am at this desk as if I was working. The only difference is I'm not instructing, I'm writing, which is more fulfilling. And it's all great in a fantasy world where I don't have those bills to pay. But for right now, for those times, I'm treating this as my job, a job that I just happen to love, the first job in my life I've ever actually loved. All of this starts with your mindset. So ask yourself, all of you, when life throws you that big curveball tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and it will, because none of us are impervious to life. It is going to happen, whether it be unemployment or something worse, a serious illness, a death of a loved one. These things are going to happen. And without structure, how are you going to re-engage? how are you going to punch through? How are you going to maintain? If you're treating this as a business, as your livelihood, then this is a very serious question for you to ask yourself. And if this is more of a passion thing, ask yourself anyway, do you want to lose this piece of who you are? Or if you don't lose it, are you okay with it going dormant for years at a time? Only you can answer that stuff for yourself. But it's something to consider, and that's what I ask you in this episode, is for you to consider this. How are you going to do those things? Do you have that structure in place? If not, why not? Is it a matter of desire or discipline? Don't say time. You're not allowed to say time. We all have the same amount of time. It's just what we do with it. I hope you found this helpful. If you have, go over to wherever you get podcasts from and leave a rating and review for the show, please. 5 stars are always appreciated, but I want them to be genuine. The people who do leave reviews, you're absolutely awesome. If you enjoy the show and you want to help me keep it going, support it, please. Details over at pulsating.com. Any support is greatly appreciated. And hey, look, if you're looking for something to entertain you and you want to support the show, go check out any of my books. You can find information at pulsating.com or just head over to your favorite retailer, though there is one in particular that only has my Subject Found series in ebook because of exclusivity. But hey, you can get your paperback and audiobook other places as well. But Rip is out there. And again, thriller, suspense. If you're looking for a fun little ride with a serial killer, go check it out. I would appreciate your patronage, your support, your readership. It would mean the world to me. Again, episode 7 of The Stories We Tell is coming out next week. So if you haven't listened to that, it's a flash fiction, anthology-esque variety podcast. Writers from the Horrible Writing Writer Support Group on Facebook. If you're not there yet, why aren't you there? Come join us. We get together every month. We are presented with a writing challenge. We have 7 days to draft, write, edit the story, and put it out there for the rest of the group to enjoy. And we have a judge panel that selects a certain number of those stories that really hit the themes, that comply with the rules, and we feature them on the Stories We Tell podcast. It's a fun little project, side project. I hope you consider joining us. So, huge episode coming up next week, 106, with author Christine Catherine Rush. I cannot wait for you all to hear that. Until that episode, keep being epic. This has been Horrible Writing, and hopefully after this episode, you suck less than you did at the beginning. I am Paul Sading, your host extraordinaire. You can find me over on the Twitterverse at Writing Horrible and over at paulsading.com/horrible-writing. Until next time, suck less.